This is the finale. I promise you, this is the finale to all of my What If I Was in My Hero Academias. So let's get started, baby. His quirk, black fire. I love black fire. Favorite color is black, and the fire is one of my favorite elements. Not as much as lightning, though. I love lightning. I can't choose lightning because Kaminari exists. So let's go. We start with our boy Christian being born in, of course, the main city. One day he's watching TV, as then he sees Endeavor destroy a villain. He goes, he's got a really cool quirk. Wonder if I'll get something like that. He was a wise child, not a wise guy, which means that wasn't rude. He was actually a good guy. He was actually pretty generous. After a while, once he hits, he's a late bloomer. He hit 5 years old. Once he was 5, while all of his classmates already unlocked their quirks, he got his own. At 5 years old. I'm just kidding. He didn't awaken his quirk. I have a cooler idea. So his whole life he's been quirkless, which everyone's just giving up on him. As then he decides to give up on being a quirk master of his quirk, which he doesn't even have. So he walks over to a shop and decides to be a tool master. He buys weapons, he buys swords, kunai, shuriken, guns, everything. His parents bought it for him before they died, as he was given a license to buy any gun. He buys an axe, all kinds of weapons that'll help him because he's quirkless. As then, I just treat him like a weapon master, so on the entrance day of UA, it's time. I'm kidding. Let's go on to his middle school days. Middle school days, he goes to a middle school named Kitagawa. I know it's like Kitagawa, but don't question it. I can't think of middle school names. He's there with his classmates, who are all expecting one to go to UA, Josh. Josh's power is an extreme version of yellow lightning. Like, this dude can create lightning beams that'll destroy that probably will destroy a building. And he was always Christian's rival. With him wanting to go to UA and saying that he will go. Trying to bully him, but Christian just uses kunai and threatens him, saying that he will stab him. Now onto the UA entrance exam. Josh actually doesn't go. He goes, damn, I wonder why Josh isn't here. Looks around and realizes, wait a minute. I remember on the last day he said something about going to Shiketsu High. Hope he makes it. Oh, we've got the Uzumaki family. Alright, so now we have the next part. The entrance exam starts and Christian instantly whips out his katanas and starts slicing down robots. He looks at a student he looks like an angry Pomeranian, as he proceeds to blow the shit out of all these robots. He also sees a boy jump straight into the air to save a girl, and punches the robot. When another robot comes, he comes in and slices its leg off, saying, "You alright?" He goes, "Yeah." Then he pulls out his axe, as in the robot actually shoots a red beam out. Nezu says, "It's a malfunction! Stop the exam!" All Might says, "Wait, Principal Nezu." He responds and says, "Yes, All Might?" He goes, "Please, let this exam going on. This would be great training for the students and for the examinees." He goes, "Fine." As then as Christian's falling down with his axe, he goes, "There's only one way I can continue this." He switches his axe to his left hand, which is his dominant arm, and then clenches on with both hands and slams his axe into the beam, crushing through the robot. As then he checks up on Midoriya, who is another robot coming at him, or actually the green-haired boy. He throws shuriken, cutting the robot's arms off, then coming in with an axe strike, which is actually glowing red because of how much energy it absorbed. As he included a power meter, which means he can absorb all kinds of energy. He instantly slices down all robots, passing the exam with flying colors. He gets into UA the next week. A message from All Might saying he's thankful for saving young Midoriya. Christian says, "I already know these two are friends." Well, whatever. And the next day he heads in. We have the most interesting part, his meeting with Midoriya. Midoriya says, thanks for saving me back there. I really appreciated it. He goes, no problem. He goes, so what's your quirk? It seemed like a red energy beam. He goes, wrong. That wasn't my quirk. That was the robot's quirk. I just have this weapon that allows me to absorb other energies and use them into power. I don't actually have a quirk. He goes, well, without a quirk, you're still really powerful. He goes, you're a quirkless loser, as he hears from behind. He turns around and says, ah, the angry Pomeranian. He screams, what did you say? He looks around, he looks saying, is he always like that? He goes, please don't mess with him, he's going to hurt you. He goes, or what? I really don't care if this guy hurts me. I'll kick your ass. As then he pulls out his axe and bring it, pretty boy. As then Katsuki, well actually the angry Pomeranian starts exploding his hands. As Christian pulls out his axe and says, bring it. But then they're both wrapped up by a scarf. He goes, Christian says, why is your damn scarf? As they both say it, him and Cop and the angry Pomeranian say it at the same time. Why is your sweater so damn strong? He goes, it's made of a certain kind of material. It's unbreakable, basically. I don't really know that. So yeah, let's get into the training art. So basically, Christian is actually bottom of the class, except for speed. He can sprint, like this kid is gonna be able to fly across the safe. His strength is great, actually, because how is he gonna wield all these weapons? And then, after that, we have his strongest point, the throwing, which actually is his weakest because it's not that powerful in Quirk Rise, and everyone else uses their quirk to make the ball go far. So he loses that one. As now we get to the next one. The next part, which is the exams with All Might. But before that, the first like a week or so goes pretty well with them. He doesn't get along with Bakugo, but gets along way better with Midoriya, Shoto, and Uraka. As he's cold like Shoto, but kind like Midoriya. As then it starts. He is on a team by himself against two people in the class. They actually take a combined training lesson with two students from the extra, with one student from the extra who actually was sitting there, who didn't have all that, who didn't have his own training MZ. His name is Josh. Christian goes, Josh, huh? He goes, what do you want? He goes, I guess we're facing each other. Bring it. Instantly, Josh is the villain, of course, and he's the hero, and Christian's a hero. They walk up there. He walks up as Josh instantly creates an extreme lightning blast and throws it. Denki says, that's like my lightning. He goes, Jiro, being the savage she is, says, yeah, no dip, Sherlock. He goes, hey. Then when Christian tries to slice it, it actually almost snaps his sword. He goes, crap. He clicks it back together somehow and goes after Josh. He goes to slice him, but Josh creates a lightning fist and breaks the sword, and then punches him into the wall. And kaboom! He instantly is blasted into it. He gets right back on his feet and pulls out 5 shuriken and throws them. Josh instantly creates a lightning fist and starts punching the crap out of him. Sorry for the squeaking, it's my chair. But yeah, he starts punching the crap out of these blasts, creating his own lightning shuriken out of it, and launching them right back at him. Christian gets back up and pulls out his axe this time. He's got a full-on axe, boy. He jumps out at him and slices down on Josh, who creates his own lightning beam. It is a close quarters blast, but Josh actually blasts him up in the air, which is pretty shocking. Hello, Dominic. Hello. Ah, God. So yeah, he basically jumps up in the air, and this is a all-out duel, a lightning blade versus. I'm kidding. It's an axe versus a lightning axe. Instantly, the axe absorbs the lightning from the lightning axe, as then it's just a full-on duel now. No one's backing down in close quarters. Josh with the advantage with more lightning tactics. But he doesn't realize that Christian has one single weapon, guns. He pulls out 2 automatic pistols and says, "Bring it, buddy." Flicks them, pushes them back in, and starts shooting. The thing is that they're not real bullets, or else he wouldn't be able to use them. They're more or less bullets that are really powerful, but aren't enough to kill somebody. As then he starts firing, as then Josh can only create a lightning barrier to block. Now this is really fun for me to make. I don't know how it is, but yeah. Finally, a final clash. Josh with his lightning fist and Christian with his sword. He comes in and goes for the slice as Josh goes for the full-on lightning fist, which breaks the sword and is about to launch into his forehead. He dodges in a quick second, pulls out his axe, and jabs the dude. Right in his stomach, a full-on stab. And strikes him into a wall. As this is he's not a fatal wound, but it's in his shoulder already. Saying, "I knew I could beat you. It just took time." As he proceeds to be knocked unconscious himself from exhaustion of overusing. His fingers are basically broken from spamming a gun. Because he doesn't have an automatic pistol, he has just a normal I did say automatic. But it's just hurting from the stress. So next we'd have the full entirety. Jumping up clean is the next arc. They announce that they're going on a field trip to the next one. To the USJ. They get on the bus where everyone discusses who's the strongest. And Kirishima instantly alludes to Shoto, Todoroki, and Bakugo. As then, he says, "Bakugo and Todoroki, I bet." Then Denki says, "What about Christian? He took down that Josh guy who looked really powerful." Idris says, "Yeah, him too. And those knife handling skills, along with the sword and axe handling, is really cool." He goes, "Well, I don't have a quirk, so..." Then Idris says, "You don't have a quirk and you're that powerful? You're probably stronger than me." He goes, "Well, I wouldn't say I'm stronger than you, Eijiro, as you have a quirk. And if we did go up, I'm pretty sure I'd lose. Because your rock-hard skin would probably just break all my weapons. Unless I upgraded them to have them more advanced. Or if I fight someone before you, like Denki or Shoto. Or Bakugo, of course. Because if I take their type of energy, I can create either an explosive axe, which I can throw to create long-range explosions, a lightning axe, which I used against Josh, and a fire and ice axe, which Shoto would probably have. As everyone is just going nuts at how cool it is. Then he says, "Are you gonna ever become a pro?" He goes, "No idea, actually. I don't really think I am. It doesn't seem that interesting to me. Pros are just mediocre at best." He says, "What about All Might?" He goes, "All Might is all talk." Everyone, Denki trying to hold back his laughter, Jiro says, "Don't laugh." As Deku goes, "Why are you saying that?" He goes, "All Might's all talk." He says that he's all powerful, but he's lost many fights with hard difficulty. Just because he defeated a stupid sledge monster doesn't mean anything. I could have defeated that. And you were the one who almost got killed by a Midoriya. As then Bakugo says, "Haha, yeah." Nerd. Then he goes, "Shut up, angry Pomeranian. You're even worse than him. At least he knows how to punch. You just explode. And your explosions aren't even that big. I could cut through one." He goes, "But you couldn't cut through that guy's blast, that lightning blast." He goes, "Josh is really powerful. He was my old rival at our middle school. He goes to Chiketsu now. Pretty great guy. He is a bully part-time." Then he goes, "Whatever." Then after that, we start with the actual USJ arc. Once they walk in, they're about to explain their roles, but then, of course, the League attacks. Christian says, "The f***?" He instantly pulls out his gun and says, "Bring it." And then he starts firing, but Kurogiri just warps them right in his back, starts firing, which actually knocks him unconscious for how many bullets just hit him in the back of the neck and his back. As everyone's worried, as Uraraka for a friend says, I don't feel like saying it because it feels weird and cringy. Deku grabs him saying, "Dang you!" and tries to Detroit smash him, but goes right through the portal, right in front of Shigaraki, who actually almost grabs Deku with 5 fingers, but Shoto freezes his arm right before he could do it. Aizawa blitzes and kicks Shigaraki, smashing the ice, which actually almost dislocates Shigaraki's arm. Kurogiri warps everyone away as it's just Aizawa versus Shigaraki and the Nomu. As they start to battle, Deku has to worry about Christian, who he's literally holding right now, because of how the dude was just shot, basically, with his own bullets. In the back of the neck, which is gonna knock you out. As then he starts to fall asleep into a deep slate of coma. When he wakes up, he sees Midoriya charging up a punch, destroying basically the ocean area. He looks around saying, "Where am I?" He looks and sees Izani's ship. He sees Aizawa getting pummeled by a little with a Nomu. This little baby Nomu is beating the crap out of him. Beating the crap out of Aizawa sensei. As then he gets up, as he can't really do much because he's kind of weak. It's kind of like when you wake up and you're not able to do much. As then he goes, "Gotta get to the water." He slowly pushes himself with the current of Deku's punch and lands into the water, which wakes him up. He gets up and swims through the water and finds the village and cuts them down. Then climbs back on shore and looks at Aizawa, who is being pummeled right now with a Nomu. He jumps out as Aizawa says no, trying to deactivate his quirk, but then remembering he doesn't have one. He comes in and stabs him. Stabs the Nomu, which does nothing, of course. The Nomu kicks him right into a wall as he coughs out blood, saying, "Damn you." He pulls out his axe and starts to swing on the Nomu, which is actually cutting him up. But then the Nomu grabs his axe and snaps it. He goes, "Damn it," and then starts firing bullets, which doesn't do much. Then he throws all of his shuriken and kunai, and then comes at him with a sword, whacking them to make them go farther. He goes, as he's shocked that the Nomu just tanked all of them and his sword slash, which all of it is stuck, as then the Nomu absorbs them into him as he goes, my weapons!" He jumps into the air and punches the Nomu, which does nothing. Then the Nomu kicks him into the sky, then gives him a fucking beatdown, which his arms are breaking while trying to block. As then Aizawa erases the shock eruption, so when Christian finally lands his second axe strike, as his axe, he has 2. He cuts him and slices open the Nomu's body, saying, "That's what you get!" And then knees him down to the ground, which doesn't do much, but it's still taking hard hit. The Nomu's still taking hard hits from these punches and kicks. Then he disappears and says, "Take this!" He runs through and cuts through him, which doesn't do much, as it's just a slash, which knocks him down to 1 knee. All Might arrives and takes care of the Nomu. Christian, on the other hand, fights Shigaraki. As then he blitzes Shigaraki, pummeling this dude, punching him up, down, left, right, everywhere. Then he goes, "Ah!" and creates a fist, which slightly glows black, but then disappears, as Bakugo sees a glimpse of this and says, "That damn loser!" As then he punches Shigaraki, and Bakugo has his hand on Shigaraki's face, and then he explodes. If you're wondering how Bakugo got there, he exploded out of anger. And then he goes, "Bakugo." As then he falls on 1 knee, saying, "You said you were quirkless." He goes, "I am quirkless. What are you talking about?" He goes, "Your hand just glowed black. I don't want to hear any lies from you. What's your quirk?" He goes, "I already told you I don't have one." He screams and then he glows black again and almost punches Bakugo but stops. Bakugo feels the intense heat from him. He goes, "See, look now, you nerd." As then it goes away. He goes, "What? I don't see any glow on me." He says, "Midoriya, do I have a glow on me?" He goes, "No." "Why?" He says, "Because this crackhead says I do." He goes, He says, "Kacchan, he's not glowing." He goes, "Shut up, stupid Deku! I saw!" As then he gets so mad, as he's about to explode him, but then Christian grabs his arm saying, "Now's not the time. Right now we have to focus on the villains." As then they look and all the villains are gone. As then he goes, "What?" Then he realizes, oh, cool, they defeated him. And they're gone. So now it's time for the UA Sports Festival, which you guys will see in the next episode.